Top ends. A person in a Ireland and the UK getting slammed, seas roaring. And ads, of course. 187 kilometers per hour. So about 150 mile an hour wind. seconds. That's crazy. The dude got attacked by his plastic cover or something. All right, howdy folks, welcome back. I told you I would be back, so let's get this show on the road, shall we? Quite the explosion we got here coming off the sun here, so let me go ahead and get this loop started, playing in motion here, and while that's loading up, I'll take a moment to thank you guys for taking a moment of your precious time to be a part of this precious family. If you stick around to the spiritual report at the end, you'll catch on to how precious this family is and how precious you are to me. Okay, that being said, let's get started here. As you can see, here we are. This is our January 24th, 2025. And we got our big spire region growing over here. And then our big explosion over on this side over here. So not necessarily coming out of our spire region this time, but quite activity going on. And this looks like one of our bigger objects that we see. So we might be going through our 1, 2, 3 session again here, just as the planets are lining up. Kind of like that crop circle I showed you guys before. All right, so let's get this going here. Get some of this other stuff in the background already out of the way. And let me capture this opening frame, and we will go through this frame by frame. And we got to go around one more time here. Quite the display there, though. Okay, back up a few. Opening frame. 024 of 124.25. Okay, here we go. Let me. Got something stuck in the bottom of my mouse here. Probably the cheese that it took. All right, as we pluck away at this and start marching forward, you can see little round circular objects here, spits and sputters, little moons and satellites coming along. The outer. Not the outer ones, but some of the closer ones to our object now. And then as we continue here, you see some coming out over here. This is a big spread over here coming off of our big spire region. Very dark over in this area. So we might have a bigger one that's kind of out of frame or doesn't get captured all that well. You can see a little moon trailing along with it right there, but then this one happens and kind of blinds the camera to what this event is. But you can see your spread and your flow going here. Meanwhile, this one comes out, boom, okay. Okay, here you can see that this plasma is spreading out over around the top of a bigger object. Here's probably your bigger object back in here. We pull back, whoops, go back one, right? In the plasma here, you can kind of see the leading edge of it right going through here. There's a little plasma out in front, but this black big object right in there probably. Okay, you're really hard to see sometimes. The flow kind of helps give it away, but sometimes we get these other trailing moons and satellites that disrupt the flow and spread it out a little differently, so it makes it hard to see our perfectly round spheroid object. But there you go. There is a big explosion right there. And I'll let you be the judge of this. You can see some of the trailing moons and satellites going along with this system. And then there was this one still kind of tapering off going on over here. Then we got more coming out, more trailing objects, satellites trailing along here. Okay, and then there was the whole loop. Now go ahead and play that, and let's center it a little bit more for you guys there. All right, so you can see it's been pretty busy on the sun right there. And then last night I was going to do a show, but we lost our internet out here. So it was probably good that I didn't do a show, because it would have been about 10 seconds into it and no show. So let's go back and cover what we could have covered last night, 1/23 of 2025, all right? Because there was some activity that was captured the day before, okay? All the bigger objects. Here's some of the outer moons and satellites in this region right here where we saw our big one the following day. Hello there, J. Paz. Welcome, sir. Hop on into the family and get all comfy. Okay, so there's this loop that was the day before. This was last night's show. So we're covering this a little bit just so you can see some of these trailing, or these outer moons and outer satellites approaching the sun and interacting with it the day before, okay, on the 23rd. And then you can see, as we just showed you, the 24th with our bigger objects approaching and interacting with the sun. So there we go. There's your couple of days worth of activity on the sun. Oh, good. We have a good family night tonight. I'm glad everybody's here and comfy and settled in. And even if you get to see this in replay, you're still part of the family, okay? All right, now let's move on here. Let's get on over to the solar ham here. Our solar flux indices still in the red at 205. It's down 10 points, so it is declining. I think after our bigger event there, now it's starting to decline. Same with our sunspots. We were way up there. Now we're down to 131. We're down 38 sunspots. So that's a bunch of those little satellites and the bigger object interacting with the sun. And now those sunspots are diminishing and disappearing because it's, oh, I know. We miss your dog too. We'll see him soon. Meanwhile, I got to stop interacting with the chat and do the report here a little bit. So we're down 38 sunspots, which is good. That means a lot of those things have like interacted and decreased. A lot of these have decreased in power and stuff. We had this 3961 departing the limb over here. Otherwise, pretty clear on most of the disk here. So let's get on back here. Now, let's talk about tomorrow, this 3-day geomagnetic forecast. It was predicted for the 24th. Well, that was a day early. If you'd done the 3 days and stuck with the 3-day thing, it would arrive on the 25th. Okay, so that's what they're still calling for, is the 25th here. Okay, so later on, if we read that it didn't arrive yet, well, it's due on the 25th, which is coming up in just a moment. Now, let's zoom into the solar X-ray flux and see how fluxed we are. Goes X-ray flux, that is, with your swimming pools and movie stars. Okay, so you can see here, here's your one little M flare for the day, kind of a bumpy day. You saw what happened, the activity today. Well, this big old object, instead of creating an X flare, only created a small little M flare. And then there's a little activity going into tomorrow. We could take a peek at that if you want, but you guys never want to, so we're just going to have to do it instead. Tough. And, oh boy, look at this. We got more of this activity. Another, looks like a medium-sized, maybe, type object there. It's kind of hard to tell. We don't have all the data there yet. But you can see, coming out of our spire region, and look at how it kind of bumps that little spire, makes it kind of go up, come back down. It adjusts for the magnetic field, the bulge that's created. In fact, let's go zoom in on that really quick. That's an interesting little effect. Slide it on over. Okay, see that right there? So this spire region, there's still something coming in this region too. So this is a little forecast of what's coming out of this region. So that's an indicator that, you know, hey, we still got activity coming out of the sun here in the future, and probably that region right there. Okay, hard to tell, some of these dark areas too sometimes. So, but there's your, let me slide that a little bit better. It's centered right there. So there's your activity already going into the next day. So here we go. All right, now back to this. So there's a little peek into tomorrow. There's your M flare for today. Now we can go ahead and zoom on out of this. And so we're expecting G1 geomagnetic storm tomorrow, okay, which means we'll be absorbing some energy. It'll hit the magnetic field, get directed to the poles. The poles will absorb it down to the core. The core will heat up and swell, and magma will heat up and swell. Okay, but right now your KP index is below 1. Okay, so we had a couple of bumps there yesterday. Nothing too bad. It didn't reach KP4. So a little bit of bumpiness, but nothing too bad. Currently, like I said, below 1, so that's good. Your aurora is really weak right now. No beta gamma delta configurations, just the 31 to 61 beta gamma and declining. We got 3171 that's beta gamma and growing. We'll watch that one as it comes into view. Okay, so something behind the southeast limb of the sun exploded on Friday morning, January 24th, and was the source of a bright, easterly directed coronal mass ejection. Perhaps an active sunspot region will soon be making its appearance. My bad. Okay, so here is your spiral, your NOAA spiral here, and you can see that they're calling for impact here just after the 25th. All right, here at Earth, calling for impact just early on the 25th. Okay, so pretty soon here in that time frame. We're gonna pop this one open and run this one as well, because this is showing our little double impact. And something I was trying to explain last night is sometimes when these CMEs merge together or cannibalize, like they like to say, they don't blend into one big peak like this. You'll get a magnetic separation in between the two shock waves that'll divide them, and you'll get a double hit, like a 1-2 punch, instead of just one big blast hitting you all at the same time. Okay, so we got to watch for this little double punch effect. Hopefully it doesn't hit too bad and hurt the magnetic field, weaken it too bad to where the second blast does or the second impact absorbs even harder. So okay, there's your little impact time. We could run this little loop if you want. We already seen it the other day. We'll just run it anyway, because sometimes you have this secondary CME catch up to the first one, and then they seem to merge together, or what they say cannibalize, but they don't actually eat each other. But sometimes you get that magnetic separation. Is this going to load? Well, this is not going to load. All right, good enough though. You see your peaks, so we still haven't had impact yet, but it's due here pretty soon. Okay, now on with the show. We did the tracker on the 23rd yesterday. An updated look at 39, 59, and 61 as they continue to move closer towards the west limb. 3971 also reemerged rapidly and will be monitored. So this one, 3971, right here, it's past the middle of the sun, but it's in that zone right there where, what was the other one that blossomed really quick there? 3964, I think, was blossomed really quickly right there. All right, so another one doing the same thing. And a number of minor C flares were detected on Thursday, and there will remain ongoing threat for moderate M flare. Okay, good, because we saw the moderate M flare, and that was an M2.7 today. Okay, moving on, let's get on over to spaceweather.com. Dr. Tony Phillips over here. Okay, decreasing chance of storms. A CME expected to graze Earth on January 24th has not arrived because it was expected on the 25th. It might be running late, or it might have missed. NOAA forecasters still believe that a G1 class geomagnetic storm is possible this weekend when a second CME passes nearby. We believe the odds of a storm are low. Okay, something else I want to point out about these CMEs: when you get this split effect right here, the front the secondary one will grab a hold of the first one and slow it up, so they combine and they do this dividing thing right there. The magnetic fields can draw each other as repel each other too. So that might be the effect that we'll see instead of just the secondary one hitting us. Okay, we believe the odds of a storm are low. Okay, I don't think so. I think it's still due to hit. It just hasn't hit yet. Now, the disintegration of Comet Atlas. Some of the comets like it hot, and Comet Atlas is not one of them. After it flew past the sun on January 13th, Atlas' overheated core began to dissolve. An overheated core. Huh. Overheated core. Where have we heard that happening before? Oh, yeah, to the planet. And it's happening to other objects out in space as well. Even the comets. You can come over here and finish reading all the highlights and all the great details that they have for you. But guess what? Something overheated the core and the comet disintegrated. We were expecting it to, go on by and we'd see it again another day, but it disintegrated. Remember how I was telling you some of these things disintegrate when they're approaching the other objects and not necessarily the sun? This may have had a little encounter with one of our darker cores out there, and all of a sudden the core heated up and it disintegrated. Strange how we have all this core heating effect going on with all the other stellar bodies in our solar system, and also the comets. Crazy, crazy. Here we go. Let's get into the Schumann now. Hold on, take a breath, and exhale. Here we go. Get that little box out of the way there. All right, so you can see yesterday was pretty smooth right here. Still some grinding a little bit there, but we came out of a pretty intense event, little break, and now back to some intense grinding. And you can see this line right here forming right there. And I believe that's the magma running along the underside of the crust, making a frequency, because something's grinding, something's moving, something's grabbing and causing frequencies here just at 13. So this almost seems to be a little barrier, because when these motion waves, sound waves, come up through the magma, they hit the crust, and the crust is thicker, and it slows the waves down, thus your lower frequencies. Okay, so I believe that we're seeing lower frequencies. This barrier right here is like the underside of our crust. And why is it illuminated so much right here where the other areas aren't? We get these blasts here where it goes right through it, but here we see this continuing little line. All right, and I believe that's an indication that our magma is at the underside of the crust. And you can see we've had a little relief right here. It stopped, but then pressure built again, and so did it right at the crust level. Okay, and that's our current readings right now. So we're going back into another round of pressure. All right, we've had some volcanoes, we've had some earthquakes activity and stuff relieving pressure. We've also had some SO2 emissions. Okay, and unfortunately sparking more fires again. Now we'll get into that here in just a second. So looks like we have pressure down at the crust level on the underside of the crust, pushing up SO2 magma, causing earthquakes and stuff. It's building up pressure right now. Been kind of a roller coaster ride today for a lot of you, with pain or irritation or just all kinds of side effects that go along with this. And it affects other people too. So you might see other people step out of character and throw you for a loop there. Well, it's all because this activity is going on in the background. And indication of pressure down below. Let's get on over to null school. Get schooled in the null. Okay, really quick, going to point out here our tropical convergence zone still shifted a little north right here. Okay, there's talk that the planet has shifted and everything too, but we noticed that we're our sun down, sun up, and the placement of the stars. So, but this is being caused by the thermal impacts going on the ocean floor. Let me get it a little bit higher for you in altitude, and you can see some of the storm formations and the rotational effect causing some of the wind to come back offshore here. Okay, there's that. Look up in here. Okay, here's this storm that just walloped Ireland up here. This one just came through there and walloped that place. We saw it approaching, and I told you, watch out for England and Ireland. Well, they got hit pretty good. And look what's brewing out there again, another one. So the flow of this seems to be kind of heading more towards Spain and the Mediterranean, or not Mediterranean, but Europe right here a little bit more. So we'll have to watch out for that as it approaches that region. Just kind of looking around. All right, pretty good so far. Okay, let's get on over to our SO2 report. And we'll take off the wind. Come on over. Go get rid of that, please. Thank you. Now, here we are. Country divided. Slowly coming together, but you can see one side, very porous crust, very soft, a lot of openings and pathways, so it just bleeds SO2 without having volcanic sites. Meanwhile, over here, thicker crust, mountainous and granite and stuff, where your volcanic sites or the perforations causing the there's your SO2 emissions. Hello, Bingus, good to see you. All right, there's your country divide. Now we're going to put the fires on. Bingus, it's good to see you. I haven't seen you in a minute here. And you're always welcome. You guys go see Bingus has a channel too. Okay, so now we're putting the fires on here. Okay, first I want to take you up to Canada because this is where you're seeing fire activity at SO2 emission sites, and it's freezing cold up there. They're having wildfires in sub-zero temperatures up there. Okay. And it's because of these SO2 emission sites, this gas comes out so hot that it causes spontaneous combustion of any of this foliage in the area. Okay, still a strong spot coming out of the North Bay up there. Then as we come down to the Los Angeles region, you can still see we have one good plume here, one good fire, not good fire, but one strong fire still going there. And now look down here into Mexico and everything. They're starting to have, or San Diego area, they're starting to have fires down in this region too. And sure enough, look, we got SO2 coming out of that region. Okay. Now something else I want to show you here. All right, we got it perfect. Now we're going to come over to this. One of the chemicals we haven't done in a long time that we sometimes need to do is carbon monoxide, just straight up CO. One carbon, one oxygen, carbon monoxide. This is like smoke, okay? The smoke from the fires, okay? And you can see the same fires in the same regions where our SO2 plumes are emitting. There's the smoke from your fires, okay? And there's this carbon monoxide, not necessarily your smoke, but you can see carbon monoxide from these fires getting dispersed all over that area. Let's just take a little peek over here. Look who else has a lot of carbon monoxide. Okay, this is another poisonous gas. This is the stuff that comes out of your tailpipe of your car, carbon monoxide. You don't want to inhale this stuff. It'll kill you. So they have strong carbon monoxide emissions going on over there. China's having fires as well. They're not really reporting it a lot, but they're having issues with fires as well. Now, let's get over to particulates. I want to do the dust storm. Take our fires off now. Okay, sandstorm report really quick. Let's come on over. Our big plume here in Africa. Most of Africa is just covered in sand. It's blowing across the Atlantic, covering South America. It's actually making it over the Andes Mountains and going out into the Pacific as well. Okay, and there's a pretty good, strong, healthy plume right there in the middle. But as we come over this way, you can see that it's hitting the Middle East. We got this intense sandstorm up here, one over there. And then we got another one going on over here. Okay, and this gets caught up in the winds. It blows all the way up. It was up here by the North Pole. You can still see little traces of it, but well, here we go again. Here's a pretty healthy plume right here approaching the North Pole. So as you can see, we're still having this activity kick up more particulates. Okay, more dust, more particulates. Last thing we need with all the ash in the air as well. Okay, so we did that. Let's go on over to our sea surface temperature anomalies and do this. Okay, let's get right on over to the west coast here, because as we're reporting, we can see this red starting to build on the west coast right here at California. Not so much in our eye or teardrop type structure, right on the fringe of it right here, but not inside of it. So that's good, okay? These fires that are down here from the SO2, there's not a bunch of heat under there, but there is a new opening, a new pathway, at least resistance in the crust on land. And that's why you're seeing the SO2 emissions out of that region right there. Okay, coming back up into the Pacific Northwest, this area inside the Juan de Fuca starting to fill in with some more heat, which is an indication of pressure building in that region. Okay, you can see this spot up here in Alaska that was there a few days ago and that had kind of diminished in intensity. Well, it's grown in intensity again, or another pathway of least resistance flaring up because we have pressure down below building. And these are all seamounts, leaks on the ocean floor, whether they're leaking magma, heavy metals, gases, whatever. It's causing hot water columns to rise to the surface, and then they blossom out in a plume when they hit the sea surface tension. The surface tension. Here's another plume off of Taiwan here that's been relieving pressure at our plate boundary fulcrum point right here, keeping magnitudes and earthquake activity down at that region. You can also see this little side plate right here off of, there's mud. Good, I'm glad you're here. And just going through this region, Java, okay, our SO2 has a lot of SO2 emissions in this area. Still kind of building a little heat. We saw a lot of cold water around it a few days ago, but now heat's creeping back into that area. You can see along the side of Australia there. And it looks like a lot of these spots have diminished a little bit in size and intensity. They're still around and stuff, but we have a new big spot on the face of the planet now that's relieving most of it. This huge area down here in between New Zealand and both of these, this one off the coast of South America, but this one right here has really blossomed in size and in strength in the last few days here. Okay, so this is relieving a lot of the pressure in the whole global system right here. Okay, meanwhile, you can see just above it, here's your La Nina that was trying to take effect, still getting disrupted up here at the front of it because of the thermal plumes on the ocean floor there. Okay, we also have a couple of these thermal plumes here in the Gulf of America. Right here and right there, and that still keeps warm, moist air in this region. This is water evaporating into water vapor, okay, keeping moist, warm air right off the coast here. So anytime the wind patterns change, it can draw moist, warm air into the cold air up above. Okay, and then we're just gonna kind of look around here. Do we get? Oh, I wanted to show SO2 on Java really quick here. Guess we forgot that one. All right, just really quick. SO2 emissions at Java, pretty strong right now. We didn't even back up for their time zone. There we go. So pretty good, pretty strong emissions coming out of Java. You see it blowing out into the straits. If you put all this cloud back onto the island, you would see a little darker color, and that means it's a lot of pressure blowing a lot of SO2 out of that region. It's acting like a relief valve. We got a couple of volcanoes on this island as well that keep relieving pressure down below. Just really quick, we got to touch base with this little island over here, our deep quake region, Fiji here, kind of acting like a valve stem. This is where pressure from down below comes up to the surface. It wants to, crack on the, it wants to break loose on the plate boundary, but we got this little island right here with two good strong SO2 emissions, relieving pressure right there by the plate boundary entrance. So it relieves pressure, keeping magnitudes and earthquake activity down. Now, we've seen a 5 in this area lately, and let's go back to our thermals again here in this region. And you can see why we have SO2 emissions, and then why we're having earthquake activity along that little section right there, because a lot of pressure coming out of that area, so much so it's breaking through the ocean floor, causing earthquakes in that region. So there's a good little, that is just huge. And now let's put on the winds here, and you'll see that your winds correspond. Let me back away from this, tilt this a little bit better color for you guys there. Not too much. Trying to get a nice little color saturation there for you guys, so you can see how your you got hot water creates hot air. Hot air rises, cold air over cold water, cold air sinks. So hot air rising, cold air rushing in to replace it. You can see that this spot right here, whoops, this heat anomaly right here, here's the center of rotation. Hot air rising, cold air rushing in to replace it. So there's a rotation there. You can see it's so intense over here that the heat has its own little rotation there. Then as we come up here to the Americas, you can see our rotation out here is causing wind patterns and weather to go up over Canada, come back down. Now we got this warm, moist air drawing up again from this region, slamming together with this cold air coming from down below, and that's a mixture for severe weather right there. And thankfully, a lot of it is coming up out of Mexico, which is drier. It's not coming off the water so much, so maybe you'll see a little bit of drier air pattern, not so moist. There is going to be a moist component to it on the bottom side of it, but looks like it's a little bit drier for now. Okay, and you can see that these heat plumes have caused our weather to do what it's doing. All right, so there we go with that. Now let's take the winds off and get into our earthquake report. Get rid of that too. All right, now the USGS. All right, this was read just a little while ago when I was trying to go live, but little technical difficulties kept me from catching it while it was still in the red. But that's our latest quake right there on the Juan de Fuca right now. So we'll get to that. Let's start in our deep quake region here for the moment, though. Okay, Fiji deep quake region. You got your, whoops. Really? All right. There we go. 4.1 down at 623. That's really deep. Okay, so That's a lower magnitude than we're usually seeing. We're used to mid-range 4, so a little lower. There's a 4.2 down at 523. So both of those together is kind of your regular activity. No quakes at the plate boundary right here because we have this relieving pressure. So we come up here, we finally get a 4.6 down at 83. We saw a bunch of heat up in that region. Oops, I just clicked out of the other one. I was trying to keep that one around as a reference. Bear with me just a second here. Because these, comparing the heat anomalies to where our earthquakes are is kind of important. So back to this region, as you see, there's no surface quake activity because of the pressure being relieved here. We have this 4.6 with our little bit of heat in that region right there. Okay, plate boundary coming up through here. Here's your corner right there. So little quake right in that region. Didn't look like there was too much heat in that region, but moving on, there's a 5.7 here at the surface. Note a little uptick in magnitude there. Cracking loose at the surface, breaking, scrubbing energy at the surface finally. You get your 4.8 the surface there. 4.8 at the surface there. 4.2 down at 220. That's a little deeper. That's a volcanic feature there. Okay, going on up. Boom. 4.3 at 66. 4.9 at 43. You know what we do with 4.9s at this place. On the island of Taiwan, 4.9. Now this is on their plate boundary right here, this backside plate boundary that runs right up through this country. 4.9 at the surface. That probably rattled those people pretty good. They've had some quake activity in that region lately. So let's get over really quick. I want to do 7-day all magnitude for that region. Okay, so in the last week, look at all this activity that's going on this plate boundary right here in Taiwan. Ever since we've had this, 6.4, it was more than a 6.0. All right, we've had all these other little quakes in this region. And let me just show you something about this region really quick. Okay, and once we get past the plate boundary, it's all populated. This whole side of the island is just all populated. It just goes and goes and goes. Okay, so all the way up, all the way down, that whole side of Taiwan is just like one big city, or one, not big city, but one big continuous population, and that's where they're having all their quakes, is right on that plate boundary. So instead of seeing, our fulcrum point here crack off with some of these quakes, relieving pressure on the backside that's less populated, now they're seeing them on this plate boundary on the populated side. So everybody pray for Taiwan there, because this is a spot of pathway of least resistance that's kicking up there. And actually, we can go on my all magnitude over here. So we'll have to watch out for, activity in that region. We still got SO2 coming out of there relieving pressure, but it's not enough. We're seeing quake activity there too. All right, we'll get into that region at the end. Let's hop on over to Iran with a 4.1 at the surface there. Iran with a 4.0 at the surface there, and Iran with a 4.7 at the surface. So things are rocking and rolling in Iran here a little bit. This site, let's just kind of zoom in every once in a while. Okay, nothing going on much out here, just out in the desert. Sometimes you see roads leading up to an underground bunker right next to your earthquake over there. So sometimes you got to zoom in there. Okay, meanwhile, over here in Montenegro, a 4.2. Now, the opposite side of Italy, right over here in this region. Let's see what their heat's looking like in that region, shall we? Well. Look, they got a big old patch of heat growing in that area. So no wonder why they're having 4.2s here at Montenegro. That's your your diverse quake almost, except it's right on the beach, right in this soft zone. Okay, you get water inundated sand all along the beach right here. It gets really soft and shifty. So if that wasn't in one of those weak zones, that would be almost your diverse quake that's being caused because of heat from down below. See, we have earthquake activity happening from pressure down below now. It's not just plates grinding together like the old-fashioned way. No, earthquakes are happening because, well, it's like an egg, overcooking an egg, overboiling it, and the egg pushing out and cracking the shell and coming up through the shell. So pressure in that region is causing that quake. Meanwhile, you got over here in Africa, this place is still, every time we get a new round of pressure, it kicks off 4.4 at the surface, 4.7 at the surface, and these little volcanic features in this region. Okay, so that area is starting to come to life. Got to watch that closely too. We already had the one vent that opened up there and just shot steam and ash and stuff into the sky. Meanwhile, plate boundary, mid-Atlantic ridge, please, 4.4. Okay, nothing up by Iceland. Fulcrum Point quake right here, your 5.3 down at 126. This is all thicker granite and mountainous region. Okay, so your plate, your surface quakes are a little deeper in this region. And there's your fulcrum point where we see our SO2 on the map there too. 4.6 here at Chile as well. You know, we never even looked at the SO2 in that region either. Am I like slipping tonight or what? There's your fulcrum point on the plate boundary right there on the land instead of in the water. So there's your weak point. SO2 coming out of there, and that's where your quake was right there today. Okay, so pressure still under that region, but that's our biggest quake we've seen there in a minute. So we have that heat patch out here that's relieving pressure and keeping magnitudes and stuff down in this region. So good to see that it's not too big there. All right, let's get into America, shall we? Nothing at this fulcrum point in a long time because we have multiple volcanoes going off. As we come in here, 2.8, not much. Current 2.2. What's this bigger one right here? 2.4. Okay, so very, very small magnitudes through that area. Now let's get to this one. This is a very recent quake. It just happened moments before I went live. You have a 4.7 at the surface here. This is great. This is what we like to see because this is scrubbing energy at the surface on a plate boundary at a fulcrum point. Not too big of a magnitude to cause a tsunami, okay, or any kind of damage like that, but relieving a fair amount of pressure in that region that needs to be relieved because when we come back over here, I know I'm all over the place tonight. When we come back up to Washington here, you can see that in that region right there, heat was starting to build again. Let me mark this right there. There's your Juan de Fuca coming out, zigzagging up through there. Okay, right in the little zig and the zag, right in that region, right in there. There was some heat built up, and now this was yesterday's. Okay, this map's a day behind, but yesterday there was a bunch of little heat in that little spot, and now we've had a quake there, 4.7 at the surface. That's relieved energy, and I bet you tomorrow when we come over to this spot, that little thing will have diminished a little bit, okay, and relieved the pressure in that area. And that can change your weather patterns too with the wind and all the different conveyor belt structures that we see out there. That could change, this little quake could change weather patterns out there for maybe allow some more rain down into Southern California. Who knows? Okay, so fulcrum point quake was at 1.8, very weak. The other little place it's been playing back and forth with out here in Yerington, Still having a little bit of quake activity, mainly mid-range ones, okay, but it's still kind of active. Meanwhile, you got your geysers relieving pressure in that area as it comes down through the bay. We got 1.8 there, 1 there, 2, a little bit of activity going through the bay here. It's not much, but it's shaking a little bit, okay? That's an indication that that pressure offshore there is starting to rattle this area. See this heat inundating? There, it's too bad this little area is blacked out right there on the coast, but probably safe to say that there's red underneath that, approaching that area, causing some of this activity to kind of uptick a little bit. As we come down the San Andreas, there's activity. There's small. Bottom of the valley there. Okay, here's your teardrop type structure coming out off the coast, going in, hooking up with the plate boundary, coming down to Baja, rounding off, coming up. All right, no real heat building in that area, but we are starting to see 2.4 here, Marina del Rey. Even out here in the ocean, 1.8. So this map was as of yesterday. I wonder if tomorrow we'll see a little bit of red encroaching in that area, causing our earthquake activity that's happening right now, or happened today. Okay, it's small, it's not much, but it's an indication stuff's starting to build in this region again. Okay, man-made perforations in the crust. We all understand how that works, right? Good. You drill through it, you create a perforation in the crust. And we're seeing 2.2 magnitude out of that kind of area. Kansas, but this is more not at the fulcrum point of our New Madrid right here, but along the side of it right here, your 1.8 in Pleasant Plains, Arkansas. Yeah, right along the edge of it. Well, thank you. Guess what? It is kind of educational, and you would have to pay millions of dollars to get this at a college, and I'd give it away for free. And they probably don't even know what I got. Now, up here, your 2.4 on the on your craton here, okay? Up by New Jersey, this is a little path of least resistance. We've seen this one kick off every once in a while. So new round of pressure. Now we're starting to see little weak spots like this one up here, other little weak spots like over here, here. Okay, starting to come to life with a new round of pressure coming in. All right, as we go here, 4.2, that's an uptick in magnitude for this region. It used to be 3.2, then it was like 3.7 is a new average, 3.8. Well, that's a little higher than your 3.7, 3.8 average, newer average. So a little uptick in pressure, or a little uptick in magnitude there. All right, so there is the quake report. Let's do a volcano report, shall we? Some places don't understand. They're still stuck with the old school way of looking at things, and there's other things going on. So, new ways of learning. All right, here we go. 37 erupting and 39 active. Together, that's 76 volcanoes. Now, 7 years ago, when all this stuff started happening to me, there was only one volcano. If I'd have told you back then, guess what? In 7 years, you'll have 76 volcanoes. You would have laughed. You would have chuckled and said, Brian, you're crazy. Well, here we are, 7 years later, 76 volcanoes. And yes, I am still crazy about you. Let's get into it, shall we? Volcanoes today. Let's just buzz through these pictures because they're just pictures. They don't really show too much except clouds. Sakurajima exploded today, 6,000 feet. Suenosi-jima, 5,000 feet. Canaleon, 11,000. There's a higher blast, okay? Ibu, I be with you, 7,000 feet. Semeru, 15,000 feet on the island of Java. Our relief valve, Semeru, is like one of the biggest relief valves on the planet. That thing is going off every day, 14, 15. Sometimes I've seen it go 16 once. Okay, so when we're seeing 15, that's a little uptick in pressure there at the relief valve. Ducono, 7,000 feet, indicator pressure. Popocatépetl, New Mexico, or down by Mexico City, 19,000 feet. Santa Guido, 14,000 feet. Okay, and that is just in the last few minutes. That's how many volcanoes are currently going off. That was just in the last few minutes. Here's the 24th, which is now yesterday because, well, time flies at this channel. Okay, this is the map of insanity. Take a look at your insanity. The media is too afraid to show you this because, well, quite disturbing what's going on. I showed you all the thermal anomalies under the water going off. Well, here's all the ones going off above the water. And don't forget, we have a currently erupting volcano on the continent of Antarctica. Now, back to our report. That's the weakest little ash cloud picture you could have given us. Sakurajima, 8,000 feet. Kanloyon, 9,000. That's a little uptick from the other one. IBU. No report. Luatobi, 7,000. Betty Crocker, 1249. Luatolo, 6,000 feet. Semaru, 15,000. Okay, 15 again. Marapi, on the opposite side of, on the island of Sumatra, on the opposite side of Java, is Marapi, and it's always going off too. There's a Merapi on Java and a Marapi on Sumatra. Again, Popocatépetl, 20,000 feet earlier today. Santa Guido, 14,000. Nevada del Ruiz, 20,000. And that's back on the map at 20,000. Sangay, Reventador, 14,000. Okay, those are all a bunch of tall blasts. And currently erupting. Yes, that means currently. And these are not minor activity. These are active. Eruption warning. Active. Activity, the root word is active. Okay, so these are eruption warning active, and these lists just go 76 currently active volcanoes, if not erupting. There's Merapi. See, there's two. Merapi on Sumatra, Merapi in Java, with a Messiah in the middle. Michael in the South Sandwich Islands. Nevada del Ruiz over here. We just read it had a blast. It should be over on this side. So we just kind of go through. This is just, yeah. Okay, moving on. With all that volcanic ash and all that moisture in the air, it's causing wild weather. So let's go over to our tropical tidbits. Everybody ready for your tidbit? I saw a hand out there already, so put your hand out. Here comes your tidbits. And for you guys that like models, well, sorry, they're forecast models. All right, get this going here. So all kinds of ash, all kinds of moisture. Moisture adheres to a particulate like ash, creating more raindrops, more stronger storms, taller thunderheads, more harder downpours, deeper snow, everything, just more increased weather, an increase in severity as well. So current conditions right here, a little bit of snow going on. You can see cold air kind of reaching down into that area. Now as you go into the morning of tomorrow, there's noon, convection, nighttime. Okay, a little bit of moisture drawing up here. Watch out. Morning of the 26th, noon, convection, little bit of yellow at convection, not too bad. Nighttime, morning of the 27th, noon, convection, nighttime, 28, noon, convection, nighttime, 29, noon, convection, nighttime. There's the 30th, the morning of the 30th, with a kick up of some severe weather here. You see cold air making it down into New Mexico there. There's your icing. All of a sudden, your icing event about noon on the 30th. There's convection or afternoon. The evening of the 30th, morning of the 31st, noon, convection, nighttime, morning, morning of the 1st, noon, convection, nighttime, wow. Morning of the 2nd, noon, convection, nighttime, wow. 3rd, noon, convection, nighttime. Uh-oh, here they come again. Morning of the 4th, noon, convection, nighttime. Whoa, morning of the 5th, noon, convection, nighttime. Morning of the 6th, noon, convection, nighttime. 7. Okay, that's far out into the future, but look at these icing events over and over and over again. I'm going to let that play for a second there. All right, nothing like too concerning in the predictable next few days future, but our little long range outlook, that event right there, and then another one coming together in the same region. Wow. Okay, now these models are all subject to change. There's a third event kind of going through a similar region right there. Okay, you can see by those thermal patterns I showed you the storm system setup. Cold air coming out of Canada, blending with warm, moist air coming off the Gulf. Okay, and it's a nasty combination. In the summertime and spring and stuff, we see your tornado activity, and then in the wintertime we see more of these icing events where this cold air is sliding underneath the warm moist air. The warm moist air gets over it, and then it rains, and that rain falls down and goes through that layer of cold air down below, and it freezes. And now we're starting to get this smashing of cold air masses and warm moist air masses, and the boundary in between, the icing boundary where one air mass slides over the top of another, and it creates for some nasty travel conditions. It knocks out the power. A lot of these people down in the south aren't used to temperatures this cold, so it's causing a lot of disruption in travel and heating conditions, people losing their power and not having heat. So it's gonna continue for a little while through that region. It looks to continue for a little bit. All right, next few days though are pretty clear, so our next little round to kind of watch for won't be until, let's just say, we see this cold air mass right here starting to come in at around, well, right here, the afternoon of the 29th, evening of the 29th, once this thing kind of drops in, if we see this kind of setup starting to happen by the night time of the 29th, it's on. It's going to just start to do this right there. That's a really deep purple right there for a lot of, 6 inches, 4 to 6 inches maybe of ice. So that could be devastating. And then once that one passes, you see how it's going up through the plains through this region. And then this one comes together in the same spot and goes right up through that region again. So you're going to have a 1-2 and possibly a third punch like that. Okay, so everybody in that region, prepare. Okay, now this is kind of far out there and it's all subject to change, but the way things have been looking lately in these weather patterns, they've been kind of, we've been seeing this cold air dip way down here. So this is, we're starting to see this new weather pattern form, okay, because of our conditions that we're in now. So All right, that's enough of all this. It's time to step away from all that and get to our spiritual report. Okay, this stuff can be disturbing and get you rattled, but it's all really signs that you were supposed to be looking for because they're indications of something else, something bigger, something better, something that is, well, sometimes just beyond belief. That's why sometimes seeing is believing. Yeah. All right, we're getting to it. Just get a few images pulled up here. Now I need to pull these instruments down now. Okay, we're in a certain time frame. And ever since the Revelation 12 sign, all kinds of crazy stuff have been happening to me. And I figured, well, I'm going to document some of this because people just wouldn't believe me. So that's what we're doing. We're going to go through and just pull out some of these and do some reading. Oh, we got an ad. Well, of course. I'll spare you the ad here. Now, one ad I saw the other day showed some lady tucking cosmetics in her purse, just kind of like helping herself to the cosmetics. It's an ad for the cosmetics, but she didn't like go up to the register or nothing. She was just tucking them in her purse. Strange ad. Okay, here we go with this image. I think most of you already know what's going on here. We'll use this one for reading too. Pull up the other one. Yes, you are being watched. You are being watched from above. By me. Here's my face showing up out by the moon. Okay, recorded by somebody else on a night that we were doing a show. In fact, during this very time frame of the show, when I'm doing the spiritual report, is when somebody went outside and captured this giant face sitting next to the moon, which happens to be my face. All right, so let's just get into a little bit of this now. All right, everybody take a deep breath. You are in good hands. Okay. So, even though you see all this stuff going on around you, some of this is very encouraging with the new president and stuff, but there's going to be side effects and consequences. For every action, there's an opposite and equal reaction, right? So, it's not the well, there's still more to go, okay? And as we continue on down this bumpy road, you got to have a thankful heart, all right? So that's what keeps you going. So rejoice and be thankful as you walk with me through each day, practicing trust and trusting and thanking me along the way. Trust is the channel through which my peace flows into you. Trust. When you trust these are real images, when you trust this is my face, that's when my peace flows into you. That thankfulness lifts you up above your circumstances. So trust is the channel through which my peace flows into you. Thankfulness lifts you up above your circumstances. I do my greatest works through people with grateful, trusting hearts. Grateful, trusting hearts. Kind of like this heart right there. You see that heart? He's pulling open his shirt, exposing his heart, radiating out these waves, creating my face with a crown in the clouds. That's that trusting heart. Okay. Trust is the channel through which my peace flows into you. Thankfulness lifts you up above your circumstances. And I do my greatest works through people with grateful, trusting hearts. So rather than planning and evaluating, practice trusting and thanking me instead. So instead of planning and evaluating, trust and thank. Instead of planning and evaluating, trust and thank. It's a new way of trying to do things, and this is a paradigm shift that will revolutionize your life. You will have a new perspective. You will be able to go through your days much smoother. Okay? I am a God of both intricate detail and overflowing abundance. So, when you entrust the details of your life to me, you are surprised by how thoroughly I answer your petitions. I take pleasure in hearing your prayers, so feel free to bring me all your requests. The more you pray, the more answers you can receive. Best of all, your faith is strengthened as you see how precisely I respond to your specific prayers. And because I am infinite in all my ways, you need not fear that I will run out of resources. Abundance is at the very heart of who I am. The very heart of who I am is abundance. That sounds pretty cool. The very heart of who I am is abundance. Okay, the more you pray, the more answers you can receive. Abundance is at the very heart of who I am. So come to me in joyful expectation of receiving all you need, and sometimes much more, because I delight in showering blessings on my beloved children. So come to me with open hands and heart, ready to receive all that I have for you. Open hands and open heart, ready to receive these images right here that I have for you. Real images, okay? This is not CGI. This is not AI. This is your clouds on Easter of 2020. April 17th, 2020. 2,000-year-old prophecy came true. Okay, so as we're going into these new days and things are changing, this is a time in your life when you must learn to let go. You must learn to let go of loved ones, of possessions, and let go of control. In order to let go of something that is precious to you, you need to rest in my presence where you are complete. Take time to bask in the light of my love, and as you relax more and more, your grasping hand gradually opens up, releasing your prized possession into my care. You can feel secure even in the midst of cataclysmic changes through your awareness of my continual presence. The one who never leaves you is the same one who never changes. I am the same yesterday, today, and forever. So as you release more and more things into my care, remember that I never let go of your hand. And herein lies your security, which no one and no circumstance can take from you. Okay, that thankful heart, thankful mind, let thankfulness temper all your thoughts. A thankful mindset keeps you in touch with me. Now, I hate it when my children grumble, casually despising my sovereignty. So thankfulness is a safeguard against this deadly sin. Furthermore, a grateful attitude becomes a filter through which you perceive life. Okay? A grateful attitude becomes the filter through which you perceive life. Get to that spot. Get to that place where you have the filter of thankfulness. When you do, everything changes. Thankfulness will then be the safeguard against the sin of grumbling and complaining. Gratitude enables you to see the light of my presence. The gratitude enables you to see this. Everybody else would just think, oh, it's a coincidence, but gratitude enables you to see that. It enables you to see the light of my presence shining on you and all your circumstances. So cultivate a thankful heart, for this glorifies me, but it fills you with joy. A thankful heart glorifies me, but it fills you with joy. Okay, that's the most important part. The thankful heart. Okay, it fills you with joy. Of course, it glorifies me, but it fills you with joy. You're going to need these tools as we keep going. All right. Rejoice and be thankful. Walk with me each day, practicing, trusting, and thanking. I know some days it's hard to do. You're like, what? Be thankful for this circumstance? You got to be kidding me. Well, when you overcome that circumstance, well, then you've overcome the world, and you got a little victory, a crown. And you overcame here, and you overcame again that day, and you overcame again. So you went from victory to victory to victory. You were overcoming the world. You're having victory in your tribulation. Okay? And that's how it works. Every day is a bumpy road. Maybe some days are smooth for you. Be thankful for a smooth day, and bring Jesus into that thankfulness of a good day as well. It's those bumpy days that make those smooth days you're grateful for, right? And if you're in pain and you're overcoming that pain each day, well, you're glorying in your tribulation. If it hurts to walk, well, each step is powerful then, isn't it? If it hurts to do this or hurts to do that, well, every time you do it, that's powerful, isn't it? You're overcoming it. You're not letting that stop you. Okay? That's what you're doing. You just keep going forward. It's a bumpy road. It's a rough road. It's an obstacle course. Okay? And even though you're not supposed to stumble, well, we do. So when you stumble, get up, brush off the dirt, and keep going. It's not about your performance. It's about your willingness to keep going and keep believing, because days are coming where they're going to try to trick everybody into thinking that this isn't real. It's all just hocus pocus. It's all myth, and you will know differently. Okay, and you will have that peace that'll overcome your circumstances then too. These are all tools. Okay, they're very valuable tools that if you put them into practice, you put these disciplines into practice. That makes you a disciple by default. When you practice a discipline, that makes a disciple. So when you practice these disciplines and you find victory over your circumstances, you're overcoming the world, going from glory to glory to glory in your tribulation, you understand what life is about, and now you are a warrior, a spiritual warrior taking on life. All right? What you're looking at is my face in the clouds, coming with a crown, power, and great glory. If you see this and you find this fascinating or intriguing, well, then you are caught up in it. You're caught up like a good book, like a good song. It takes you away from your circumstances. You get caught up in it, much like a good song or a good book. You are caught up with me in the clouds, and we meet in the air of cyberspace. I can't come over to your house and give you a hug right now. Okay, I'm stuck in a meat suit, a shattered body right now, so I can't make it over and give you a hug. But we can meet in the air of cyberspace, like we do in other chat rooms and other families that are on the internet here. Okay, so I meet my family in the air, where I provided a place here at YouTube that where I am, you may be also, that you can come here and be caught up with me in the clouds. And when you are, all of a sudden you realize who I am and who you are and how precious you are to me. All right. This is very important that you guys understand this is all about love. Okay. Might look like tough love, but some of you parents out there will understand how that works. Well, that's the father. Sometimes it has to be a little tough love, but it's still love. Okay. We're growing you spiritually stronger so you can take on anything. You will be equal to anything and nothing will be able to move you. Okay. Real deal, real stuff. Okay. It's been hard for me to do this and go through this at the same time and still try to do a show and raise a family while still being spiritually attacked and all those faces and stuff chasing me around the clouds every day, UFOs and stuff follow me everywhere I go. It's a crazy life. Okay. I got a crazy, crazy life, but it's worth enduring it all if I get to bring some of this real material to you guys, real stuff to you guys, so you can have that real strength, that real hope, that real peace that transcends your circumstances, so that you can bring this light into other people's lives, that you can bring that hope, strength, peace, trust, that relationship into other people's lives. Okay. They're going to be hating it because they don't understand, and you got a big head start on them. Okay, this is how you'll be able to help the people that you're around. Okay, you can't go out and change everybody, but you can still help the people that you're around. Might not convert them, but you will still be the anchor at which they can lean on. And they'll be like, how do you do it? And you can show them the anchor that you're leaning on, the foundation, the rock that you have to lean on, the foundation that you have that you can build on. Okay, and when you understand the word rapture is not in the Bible. Okay, it says when you see these things come to pass, look up. Look up until your clouds. Remember, he said, you'll see me coming in the clouds. So, hint, hint, look in the clouds. So, I look in the clouds. Well, here we are on Easter in the clouds, and here's my face showing up with the crown on Easter. So, when you look up, you'll see me coming in the clouds with power and great glory. You'll be fascinated. You'll get caught up with me in the clouds. We'll meet in the air of cyberspace on YouTube when I go live, okay? And that way you understand who I am and who you are. You are a member of a royal family. How bad do you want it? Because the more you trust and the more you put in, the more you get out in return. Okay? Give it a try, give it a shot. You got nothing to lose. It really works. Ask some of the people in this family. Do not leave until the miracle happens. If you haven't figured this out yet and it's still kind of iffy, keep coming back. Keep trusting, keep watching. Eventually it'll sink in and you will learn to trust, and then we will start to build a relationship. It's not a religion, it's a relationship. And once you understand that I am a person just like you, that I have feelings and emotions and aches and pains just like you, that I go in alongside with you through this. I went ahead of you and did it, and now I'm going alongside you and doing it with you too. That gives you comfort. That's the comfort that I try to bring to you guys, so you will understand you're not in this alone, all right? Keep plugging away. You guys are doing awesome. You're overcoming the world each day by salvaging it. You salvage something went bad in your day, and you pulled up your bootstrings and you recuperated, but then something else tried to take you out. But you overcame that, and you overcame this, and you refused to have a bad day. You overcame the world. You're going from glory to glory in your tribulation. I've said it several times, but the more I say it, the more you grasp these concepts. Then you go to scripture and try to find the word rapture, and you find it's not there. You see it says, look up, you'll see me coming in the clouds instead with power and great glory. All of a sudden it'll start to make sense. Oh, wait, the way we were looking at the Bible was wrong. It meant this instead. It's not what Hollywood, the liars in Hollywood, portrayed. No, not gonna be left behind. Nobody raptures up into the clouds, turns into a little white dot, and escapes having any kind of tribulation. No, it's your tribulation that makes you strong. Don't pray away your blessings, overcome them. It will make you stronger. Take on your fears, face them, and then they won't be fears anymore. You'll have victory over them, and you can walk with confidence. Okay? I love you guys. I miss you guys. I got a lot more work to do on the side, so I have to get going. Sure, thankful for this little family. Thank you, Hopkinson, Leslie, for being here. Tiger's Eye, Laundry Williams, welcome. Someone, welcome. Jason Knowles, welcome. Jimmy, good to see you. Tiger's Eye, who was that back there? Okay, saying some thank yous to some of my family. All right, and also people. Oh, His Real Lights is a new one. And also people in replay. Okay, thank you for watching in replay. I know I go late night, so not everybody gets to catch it late at night. You have to watch it on replay. And through the eyes of a child 61, thank you for being here as well. All right, so some new people, welcome to the family. And if you enjoyed this, keep coming back. We'll keep doing this, trying to get it as close to every night as I can here, as long as we got, well, as long as the air is still working, as long as my internet is still working, we can meet in the air, okay? Well, where you will be caught up with me in the clouds, and you'll know who you are, okay? Until my next show, I will be back. Oh, there's Marcia. Hi. You're hiding in there somewhere, little darling. Anyways, this is the real deal. You guys are royalty. If you want it, it's not too bad. And once you've figured out the lifestyle and you live it, you're going to find a richer, fuller way of living, a new paradigm that just transcends all your circumstances. Okay? Until my next show, I will be back. I am a man of my word. I told you I would be back. I am already back. Can't you tell? Love you guys. Bye. There we go.